Hello and welcome to today's presentation, Dell Appliance for Wyse, Citrix. Desktop virtualization, right-sized for smaller organizations, which is simple and quick to procure, deploy, and scale. Today's webinar is being brought to you by Dell and Citrix. Joining us today to discuss this topic is Tony Sanchez. He's a Worldwide Alliance Principal Solutions Architect with Citrix. Also joining us is Nicola Quendent. He's the VDI Solutions Senior Marketing Manager with Dell. Now let me hand things over to Nicola to get started. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Let's talk first about the benefits that VDI can bring to your organization. If you've been using traditional PCs, you've certainly encountered a number of problems. First of all, with security, when data resides locally on an endpoint, a laptop, and if that machine is stolen, that would create problems with, basically data out there in the Wyse ready for sale. Also, your users might want to use the latest and cool device of their choice instead of the corporate provided machine. Also, when you use traditional PCs, IT needs to juggle with different OS versions on the different endpoints and also the different licensing versions, which is not an optimal use of valuable licenses. The IT team also needs to run around an office to fix broken hard disks and replace them or replaced machines. This is very heavy on the IT team. Also, with traditional PCs, you need to do too many updates too often. The advantages of VDI are, first of all, security. With all your data and applications locked in the data center, you can control it much more tightly. Also, you can enable bring your own device strategies as end users want to bring the cool device of their choice, also enabling mobility. By implementing VDI, you can work from anywhere at any time using any device. And you also save greatly on IT operational costs as everything is centralized in the data center. You only have a few images that you need to update. Now, specific to the appliance we are presenting today, this appliance is based on your premises, so it's not cloud-based, so you can keep control. If you've tried VDI in the past, it's likely that you had some problems. Maybe you took a server that you had and a storage device and you tried to make them work, but it's likely that there was compatibility problems. There was problem with IOPS. There was latency. Your end users tried it, but it didn't work too well. That's not surprising. With so many moving parts, many things can go wrong. At Dell, we brought a solution in the format of an appliance, which is truly easy to deploy, set up, and manage. The Dell Appliance for Wyse Citrix has been tested by Dell and is guaranteed to work. It's also part of an end-to-end solution. You don't need to be a VDI IT specialist to make it work. With a simple wizard answering simple question and answers, you can get up started quickly. Dell and Citrix have collaborated on a new exciting platform, the Dell Appliance for Wyse Citrix. This appliance runs Citrix XenDesktop or XenApp on Microsoft Hyper-V hypervisor. It has been designed for SMB in mind or organizations without a VDI specialist. It can be deployed in just a few hours instead of days or using the Quick Start Tool wizard. It's also very cost-effective, so you can stay within your budget. The appliance can support between 50 and 5,000 users. Let's look a little bit what this appliance is about. On the hardware side, the appliance is based on a Dell PowerEdge R730 Dell server. This is one of the best servers for VDI. Each server or each appliance can support between 50 and 340 users. You can scale up to 5,000 users by simply adding linearly other servers as you need to scale out, and they see each other. There's complete compatibility there. In terms of software, the appliance runs Citrix XenDesktop on Microsoft Hyper-V, all installed in factory. The pricing includes also all the licensings for SEVMM and Microsoft SQL. In addition, it is supported by the award-winning Pro Support for hardware and software, supported by Dell and Citrix, and giving you the peace of mind that you need. Last but not least, the Quick Start tool is the deployment wizard which makes it very easy and very fast to deploy in a small and medium organization environment. Let's look into more details what the appliance is all about. So first of all, as mentioned, it runs on one Dell server, the R730. So it's only one form factor. There's only one SKU to order. We made it very easy. You don't need to guess which CPU to use or which RAM or what kind of disks or of what speed to make it work. Dell has all tested it for you. Also, in question of support, it's just one phone number to order and to support it, whether you need support for hardware or the Citrix software or the Microsoft software. It comes in two delivery models. You can have shared sessions or virtual desktops on this, depending on your need. And it's also Citrix ready. I'd like to take a moment to talk about the price per seat. When you deploy shared sessions, the price can be as low as $435 per user. And when you deploy VDI with XenDesktop, this price is $533. This is a price per user. And it's over 3 years. It contains all the data center hardware and software. It includes all the licensing like Citrix XenDesktop, Microsoft Hyper-V, SCVMM, and SQL, giving you all the peace of mind that you need. The appliance leverages local hard disks in the server itself, so there's no need for an external SAN to make it work. It also works with any endpoint, running Citrix HD. The appliance comes actually in three different type of configuration. There is, first of all, a small configuration which is ideal to support between 50 and 95 users. The large configuration is ideal for 150 to 340 users. And the custom configuration is ideal for VDI specialists who might have special needs of hardware in terms of maybe SSDs, or they want to add a graphics card. But there's no recommended density for that. It just gives customers the flexibility to do that. You can see that the only difference between the small and the large configurations are different CPU and different type of hard disks and RAM. This has all been tested by Dell in factory and is guaranteed to work. The idea of having different appliances of different sizes is that you can have the ideal price point. If you're a very small office and you need to run only maybe 50 VDI users, the large appliance would be too costly for you. So we've designed a small one so you can start small and stay small if you like to. But for a large organization, and knowing they will expand already beyond 300 users, they can start big right away with a large configuration and scale out linearly up to 5,000 users. This slide shows you the reference architecture for both sizes, for the pilot configurations up to 170 users and for the large configurations up to 340 users. On the local hard disks reside the operating systems and the virtual machines. On these volumes, there's also Citrix XenDesktop, Microsoft Hyper-V Hypervisor, Microsoft Sister Center Virtual Machine Manager, Microsoft SQL, the virtual machines, or the shared sessions. The pilot configuration is great for proof of concept or for very small businesses. The large configuration is better for large organizations who know right away that they want to go big with VDI. Let's look at how many users you can put on each appliance. These are the testings we've done in our labs using Citrix XenDesktop 7.7, and that's a user density for Windows 8.1. The appliance has been tested for different VDI workloads using VSI login standards. A standard VDI workload is ideal for simple task worker as for a use case such as a kiosk or a call center. The enhanced VDI workload is ideal to run office productivity applications. And the professional workload is for advanced knowledge workers who might need to create or edit videos or graphics and who have a heavier use of the CPU, of the RAM, of the server. We see here that for a large configuration, we can put up to 340 shared sessions. If you want to run virtual desktops, non-persistence. You can put up to 150 professional users or 245 standard users. For the pilot configurations, it supports between 55 and 95 users when you want to run Windows 8.1 operating systems or VMs, or it can support 170 shared sessions running Windows Server 2012 R2, a template OS. These are recommendations for non-persistent VMs, but you can also have persistent virtual machines on that. I'd like to mention that this testing has been done with Windows 8.1 OS, but it works also with Windows 10 virtual machines. And now we would like to talk to you about what we call the Quick Start Tool, or QST, which is the secret sauce. That's really the deployment wizard that Dell has developed in order to make it very easy for IT generalists to deploy such a VDI environment.
Excellent. Thanks, Nicholas. Let's go and talk about the Quick Start tool. What makes this tool very unique is Dell and Citrix collaborate on working on this tool over the past year and a half. This solution is actually in its second phase. So the Quick Start tool has definitely been around the market for a while, and it's really gone through a lot of amazing improvements over its release time frame. What we really like about this tool is it really makes the deployment of both XenApp and XenDesktop extremely simple. Things that were challenging in the past, like determining how to install System Center Virtual Machine Manager, figuring out how to create SQL Server instances needed for Citrix XenDesktop or XenApp, they're greatly reduced. And this tool does a great job of taking care of the complexity. Sometimes it takes a lot of time just to get the base infrastructure needed before it can even get to the point where you create your golden image that users can log into. And the Quick Start tool does this, and it does a great job. And so it really takes a lot of complexity and hides it. So it starts off with a really simple GUI tool that comes loaded from the factory on the Hyper-V server. And really it's as simple as the administrator going to the Quick Start tool, which you can see in a screenshot here, and just simply answering questions and answers. It's pretty simple in the fact that even an IT generalist can do it. You don't have to be an expert to know how to deploy XenApp or XenDesktop just to have the infrastructure and the base machines needed to get started. The process is really simple. The first thing you're going to do is take that R730 server you're going to receive and you rack into your data center. The server already comes pre-configured again from the factory with Windows Server 2012 R2 loaded. You log into the machine with the default credentials, which of course can be changed later on, and then you add it to your company's domain. Once it's on your company's domain, it's really as simple as going through and ensuring you start the Quick Start tool icon, which is on the desktop, and just start to go through the process of answering the technical questions. And after that, you get to a point where further down the Quick Start tool, you have the master image ready to be logged into. The template then gets assigned to your VDI users or your XenApp shared sessions users, and then you're ready to go. So let's take a look at that in a more in-depth technical demonstration on how the Quick Start tool works and how it greatly simplifies the deployment of XenApp and XenDesktop.
Let's get started by clicking on the Quick Start tool. We'll select Management Only to build out our management machines. Agree to the EULA. We'll then enter the IP address for our local server, then the first XenDesktop controller address, followed by the secondary XenDesktop controller address. We'll then enter the address for our SQL server, as well as our Citrix storefront web address and our Microsoft System Center Virtual Machine Manager address. Next, we'll enter in our administrator username and password that we will use to install and create the virtual machines. We'll then enter in the license information for Microsoft SQL Server, System Center, and our master Windows Server OS image we'll use to create the management machines with. Next, we'll enter in the path to our ISO media. After that, we'll review our configuration and click Next. In 71 minutes, the Quick Start tool configured our host settings, created our management machines, and installed all the necessary management software and linked them all together.
Great. In the first video, we saw how simple it was for the Quick Start tool to set up the Citrix infrastructure needed for XenApp or XenDesktop. Normally, that process can take up to days, going to the point of trying to find the media and all the things necessary to create the infrastructure. Well, now that we've got it set up, the next question is, well, how do I go to scaling it out? Let's say I want to add more servers. I want to add more capacity, more compute for users to log into. What's that process look like for scaling out? In the new release of the Quick Start tool, they significantly changed it to the point where the scale-out configuration can now scale up to 5,000 users. And that's amazing because it allows IT to figure out exactly how many servers are going to need to scale up to support up to 5,000 users. Let's say, for example, they're looking to go from a pilot scenario where they started with 1 and now they need 2, 3, 4, or 5. It's a very simple sort of Lego building block approach where they can calculate exactly how many servers they need to scale up to that specific amount of users they're going to need. In terms of using the scale-out tool, it's pretty simple. So the Quick Start tool enables that same scenario where that tool is on the desktop of that second server that the user ordered, and the IT generalist then has the ability to go ahead and simply scale out by going through the Quick Start tool and selecting this new scale out function that allows them to create the rest of the additional workload. Same as before, that server comes preloaded from the factory with Windows Server 2012 R2 and Hyper-V enabled, but the infrastructure piece is already done for you because those were done on the first server. Now it's simply a matter of saying, well, I need to go ahead and produce, let's say, 50 XenDesktop sessions or 150, or maybe I need to scale up to 2,000 or 3,000 XenApp sessions. It can all be intermixed and be able to be designed to accommodate the business's needs. So depending on which way you want to go, you can either scale out from as little as a couple hundred to a couple thousand simply by ordering those additional servers and just adding them as blocks to scale out to appropriate numbers needed. Now again, in a large config, it's really simple. It's just a matter of going through that same process of using the Quick Start tool. So if you wanted to scale out more XenApp servers, no problem. We go ahead and use that same Quick Start tool to procure the same amount of XenApp sessions or XenDesktop virtual machines that we need. So it's pretty simple to go through that process. And once that process is done, it's at the point where the users are able to log into what we call the Citrix storefront server. And that's what allows them to go ahead and access their virtual desktop or their hosted shared XenApp session by simply going through a portal. All the complexity in terms of having to figure out, well, do I need to reinstall this component on this server? It's all hidden. It's not even visible to the IT generalist. It simply goes to the Quick Start tool, launches it, and then goes through a process of scaling out how many additional virtual machines he needs or how many additional shared sessions he may need, depending on which Citrix platform he's going to deploy. But either way, all the components in terms of the system center, media, the base image for your infrastructure machines, for your Citrix controllers, all the information, all that ISO file is stored directly on the server as it comes from the factory. So there's no need to worry about downloading anything because it's all natively there. So it makes the deployment extremely fast in a matter of hours as opposed to days to scale up from a couple hundred to a couple thousand. So let's take a look about how that looks in a more technical demonstration.
We'll get started by clicking on the Quick Start tool. This time we'll select Compute Only Scale Out. As you can see, the Dell Appliance for Wyse and Citrix create the entire management and compute workload stack in just over 90 minutes. This automation has greatly simplified the entire deployment process, allowing IT to scale out a Citrix workload as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Now that you know all about the Dell Appliance for Wyse, Citrix, and the Quick Start tool, let's look at some final considerations why you should buy from Dell or what Dell has to offer. In order for the appliance to be effective, you need some endpoints. So chances are that you can reuse some existing desktops or laptops that you may have. Well, this can be traditional PCs running Windows 7, 8, or 10 operating systems, no problem. But you might want to use also thin clients or zero clients. Dell offer a wide range of endpoints that are well suited for the appliance. It can be zero clients, which basically have no OS. It's just firmware, which is made just for Citrix, making them completely secure since there's no attack surface. You can use also thin clients running Windows Embedded 7, 8, or 10, or even Linux, depending on what your needs are. If you choose Dell, you have the advantage of having only one vendor for support, both for VDI and the endpoints. You can even use Chromebooks or laptop PCs or pretty much any device. All of these are running Citrix HDX. However, there are some range of Citrix HD verified thin clients that we can recommend in particular. The Wyse 3010 uses a mid-level performance dual-core CPU and running ThinOS. It's ideal for task workers. The Wyse 5010 uses a dual core from AMD. It can run ThinOS, Windows Embedded, or Linux. You can even use all-in-one form factors where you have a 22-inch display in which the hardware of the thin client is embedded into the machine. This makes it ideal for aesthetics, so you have no cables running around the monitor, or also when you have a strong space constraint. We offer basically all sorts of thin clients for all your needs, whether you're a task worker, an office worker, or you need high-end applications. Our very latest offering, the Wyse 7040, even runs vPro and dual network cards, even with fiber optics. Now let's look at who is this appliance ideal for. It's great for educational organization or schools that want to deliver VDI to students and meet the learning objectives. It's also great for all sorts of organizations who don't have an IT VDI specialist and who are very cost conscious. As you can see, at around $500 per user, it's a very cost-effective solution. The solution is also ideal for channel partners. The solution is also ideal for channel partners that want to deploy into smaller offices. This solution, however, is not for everyone. Typically, if you want to run, very complex deployments, or if you want to use software-defined storage technologies, a SAN, if you need to add high-end graphics, or even if you need to deploy high availability, you might want to use other solutions from Dell. Dell Cloud Client Computing offers the easiest to plan, deploy, and run VDI solutions on the planet. Dell Cloud Client Computing has by far the broadest choice of back-end server, storage platforms, VDI appliances, VDI software, and VDI endpoints than any other provider. We are the only true provider of cohesive, easily managed end-to-end VDI solution from the data center all the way to the end-user device. Only Dell offers such a wide variety of ways to implement, operate, and manage VDI. Our customers can opt for a completely on-premise solution, or the back-end infrastructure can reside off-premise in a Dell or partner data center. They can manage it, or Dell can offer remote management services. Finally, the entire VDI solution can be offered out of the Dell Cloud as Dell Workspace as a service, or the customer can purchase a desktop as a service from a Dell partner. The Dell Wyse clients with Wyse ThinOS firmware have zero attack surface, making them immune from viruses and malware. With no published API, no user-accessible file system, no browser, and not based on any published base, software is literally immune from virus attacks. Wyse thin clients from Dell average about 8 years of productive use before they need to be swapped out. We have some customers who have been using the same Wyse thin clients for 12 years. This remarkable reliability saves customers time and money. When you partner with Dell and Citrix, you're partnering with the world leaders in VDI solutions and thin clients endpoints. Last but not least, Wyse invented the thin client and also has over 250 patents in thin client and VDI technology. So, if the appliance is not for you because you either want to do complex deployments, or you want to do smaller deployments, or you want to use other technologies, Dell offers you a wide range of choice. First of all, you can, if you need to use, for instance, software-defined technology, we offer the Dell XE Web-Scale Converge Appliance, which is powered by Nutanix. This is a solution which is ideal starting at about 600 users up to many thousands. If you're a small or remote office, we recommend the Dell PowerEdge Vertex, which is a self-contained box containing compute, storage, and networking. If you need to run high-end graphics or some special needs, or users who need a lot of CPU or RAM or NVIDIA graphics card, we recommend that you use the Dell Precision Appliance for Wyse virtual workstations. You can put NVIDIA graphics cards in it and run several users. Finally, there's also reference architecture for the Wyse Data Center, which is basically a recipe book which will allow you to add your own storage components to guarantee you that the solution will work on Dell and Citrix. The solution comes end-to-end with all the services you might need, whether it's consulting, implementation, support, and management. And we offer all sorts of endpoints, those being either zero clients, thin clients, cloud desktops, or all sorts of other endpoints. This slide site points you to a series of resources on the Dell website, animated videos, and on Tech Center for all technical documents such as the appliance architecture, the latest version of the Quick Start tool that you can download, a deployment guide, and tutorials.
Thank you, Nicholas. Well, I'd like to thank today's speakers for taking the time to join us today. I'd also like to thank today's sponsor, Dell and Citrix, for making this event possible. As always, I'd like to thank you, the audience, for joining us today. Have a great day.